And there's the first terp of two. Jimmy Sheptock at 184 pounds. The senior from Northampton, Pennsylvania, getting ready to take on another senior, Ethen Lofthouse from Avon, Utah, Mountain Crest High School, and the Iowa Hawkeyes. Number 1 and number 2 seed in the Midlands Championship, Jimmy Sheptock, Ethen Lofthouse. Here we go.
Yeah, number 1 and number 2 seed, and two guys that are battling for that number 2 ranking in the country here behind Ed Ruth from Penn State. So two guys that Lofthouse has gotten a little bit more offense going, but again, it's just like what we saw from some of these other wrestlers here. There's kind of a straight flow. There's not really many spikes of activity as far as combinations, but he's always solid and he's tough to score on, and he seems to, just like St. John that we saw here, the NCAA champ here, just comes out on the top of the scrambles. And Sheptock is a wrestler that does have a pretty good set of skills. Got a nice low-level shot to work up the body here with you, but another guy that really tries to slow the match down a little bit and work his tempo. I don't think he's going to have any problem with that here with Lofthouse. I mean, they don't really go out and explode at each other.
Both producers when it comes to the end of the year. All-Americans last year. Lofthouse, a 2-time All-American. Sheptock, becoming an All-American last year, finishing in the top 8. That's what it takes to be an All-American at the NCAA Division I championships. And last year, actually, these two wrestled for 5th and 6th.
The shot that you just saw there, you're looking at right there, go back to it, is that kind of the difference between consolation wrestling and then championship wrestling. When you get in the championship, you don't see two guys just going chest to chest and usually locking it up like that. These guys are a little bit more conservative in the way they're going about measuring their opponent. Sometimes you get in those consolation rounds, you get two guys who are just freewheeling it and like to just go out there and, hey, let's see if we can get this thing over with.
1 minute left in the first period, 0-0. The number 1 and 2 seeds.
Look at Tyrone Lewis, the former All-American at Oklahoma State, helping out with the program there, University of Maryland.
So Nate Carr Jr., who's also helping out there earlier in the tournament, assisting Kerry McCoy, one of the all-time great Big Ten wrestlers
at Penn State.
Yeah.
Multi-time NCAA champion, Olympic team member. So again, these guys are a little bit more straight on with each other, a lot of respect. Really tough to get through the head-hands defense. Both are working for that inside collar tie. One guy gets a collar tie, the other guy starts to work on inside. See how sequence right there. Left arm coming up to the other collar tie. So again, all the while that they're kind of bent over at the waist, not really getting much offense. So these guys end up with a scoreless first period, no surprise.
Well, they know each other. Like I said, they wrestled for 5th and 6th last year, and Lofthouse earning the 5th place honor, and Sheptock getting 6th, both at 184 pounds.
Lofthouse coming up with that inside stand-up, not very well contested there by Sheptock. We'll see if he being Sheptock tries to go after that single leg to Lofthouse's right leg. What his favorite shot is, but see how that he can't really get to it, get it over that side, because see that head position of blocking. See that head blocking that's going on right there by Lofthouse. The wrestlers are, they deal with comfort zones, and the formation for his attack right now is to get his head on the left-hand side, on the right shoulder of Lofthouse, and Lofthouse doesn't want him over there. He likes to have his preferred head position, so that's why you don't see a lot of scoring there. Here is that neither wrestler is in a comfortable position off the tie.
1-0 that escape, the only score. Lofthouse out in front.
Sounds like I'm kind of making excuses for these guys, but they're too tied up at the ear-to-ear level where you can feel everything that your opponent is doing right there when they're that tight. And so you have to break free, create a little corner, a little space. There's a half shot, really the first shot by Lofthouse.
Well, the point is there's just, especially as you get to the heavier weight classes, there's just not much margin between the two. They're all good. And these two guys right here, two of the best in the country, both All-Americans. They know each other well, and
yeah, and it does take some strain to be out there. I would say, the good is, that you're looking at two All-Americans, but they're both similar, in the way that they're going about their attacks, and they wait for the other guy to wear down a little bit, and they don't necessarily commit to a shot till later in the match, and that's meeting with approval of Tom Brands right here, and
Tom Brands, the head coach, Ben Burhow, former heavyweight for Minnesota, the volunteer assistant coach in the corner. Lofthouse starts on top. Sheptock out quickly, 1-1. A minute 45 left in the regulation.
Another shot that, again, look for Lofthouse to maybe pick up his activity there and try to post the arm and try to drop in on the lead leg. Again, it's just going to be something more than a single shot. You've got to move from one side to the next, and both these wrestlers have the capability of doing that. It's just that when will they do it?
Iowa, as we said already, doubling the score on the competition almost. They have the team title wrapped up coming into the finals, scoring lots of points, 7 in the finals.
And, I was looking for Iowa coming off of that loss that they had to Penn State, is looking for, hey, how would they respond? And, when you get in the second day of a competition, because most of these competitions that they have are one-day events to this point, what's going to be like the second day? Iowa came out like they're shot out of a cannon in the consolation rounds here, and then also in the semis. They look like they're awake and they're ready to go, and we saw some improvement with some of the other guys that they've had kind of lower in the lineup, some of their red shirts and other wrestlers that performed pretty well too. So they're able to get some other wins out there that give some confidence in the program.
10 Hawkeyes in the top 6, placing 7 of them in the finals. 3 out of the 5 that have wrestled in the finals have won championships. Lofthouse trying to make it 4, but Maryland 2 in a row at 184 and 197. 2 Terps in the finals, trying to make a statement as they come into the Big Ten next year. And we're going to go into the overtime situation again.
Did we mention that we're going to be on next week with Indiana and Northwestern?
Overtime criteria, sudden victory. 4:30 next Saturday, Eastern time. Indiana at Northwestern. We talked about, Jim, you brought up Northwestern and their recruiting class and what they're doing. We'll talk about that if we have the opportunity. But right now we're in sudden victory. The first score wins here at 184.
Neither of these guys, there's a nice solid shot there by Sheptock, and he's able to go ahead and change it off. This is what Lofthouse is improved in his position, but he rolls through, right? And he probably has given himself enough of an advantage here to be able to go ahead and no, he's going to get locked up there.
And there's the 2. Maryland gets a championship. Jimmy Sheptock, the number 2 seed.
We didn't see any commitment till that point.
And just like Monk.
Right there. So he went to one side and came back to the other. And I thought for a moment here when Lofthouse rolled through, right, he was going to be able to go ahead and improve his position, but he's held on to the leg as opposed to getting up and getting his head up. And the guy who has his head up always wins the scramble, and that was Sheptock.
Sheptock, the winner for the Maryland Terps. He's the winner by decision in overtime.